Good morning, Mississippi. This is the Andrew Gosser Show, and I am Andrew Gosser, and you are listening to 103.9 WYAB. It is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. And to my son, Austin, happy birthday, brother. It's awesome. Oh, it's great when you can give your kid a shout out on his birthday, you know? We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we're even streaming on that social media platform that begins with a F because we don't like saying their name because they censor the heck out of everything. And of course, you can always listen to WYAB anywhere in the world at WYAB.com, the mothership. If you want to be part of the program today, the number is 601 879 0002. And the text line is open. That number is 601 879 5060. As always, the mission is standard. We are here to equip the saints, and we will do that. And Brother Carl this morning came in and just texted this to me, and it's true. Do not rejoice when your enemy fails, and do not let your heart rejoice when he stumbles. That's Proverbs. And that is really good medicine, really good wisdom for all of us out there, whether you're on the right or the left. You know, spiking that football feels good, but it also adds fuel to their fire, and we don't want any of that. So we have all sorts of places to start at this morning. You know, just as I was coming into the office, I was hearing about what was going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's tragic. Active shooter situation out there. The shooter is now deceased, but potential for a lot of casualties over there. And you never want to see a shooting at a school. And unfortunately, this Catholic school has been targeted. And we're just going to kind of not casually follow it, but we will follow that in the background. And if there's anything really significant there, we'll definitely go to it. There's also been a really good posting on X, and I tweeted this out to the governor and also to the Mississippi GOP, because this is actually what started my Minnesota trek today. Is I got this picture. It says Minnesota nice, Mississippi smarter. Let's teach the kids to read. No more excuses. MN.com. In Minnesota, they are talking about the Mississippi Miracle on billboards. They're talking about Mississippi education in a blue state. Mississippi. People say Mississippi's horrible on education. Mississippi has been the joke of education for so long. And now we got billboards in Minnesota talking about how great Mississippi is, how Mississippi is smarter. I know that we have a lot of work to do on education. And again, I do agree. And I might even try to get some of these people on who are talking about how the numbers are manipulated inside the Board of Education to make us look great. And I do agree with that. Just like we were talking about yesterday, no one reads for leisure anymore. And reading is the number one way to actually increase brain activity. And I'm not talking about reading a computer screen. It's actually reading a book where you can't get sidetracked, where the screen isn't so tough on your eyes. It's tough. As technology continues to roll out, it'll be harder and harder to get smarter. You will think you're smarter, but you'll really just be attached to your anxiety device. But I thought that was really slick. Anytime we can brag about Mississippi, especially in these liberal blue nut job states, we got to do it. And we will continue to do it. But that's about enough for Mississippi. Where to go next? Oh, I know where we have to go next. There's only one place to go. The Cracker Barrel fiasco. Bud Light 2.0. What I will say is that Cracker Barrel reversed itself, at least with the sign part, rather quickly. and this is coming from CNN. I like it because whenever CNN has to grovel, we drink those tears. After days of intense backlash, most recently by President Trump, and President Trump did go out there in truth and basically say you need to bring the old sign back. Cracker Barrel is scrapping its new minimalist logo. That's great. All these crazy minimalists can go out and live in the woods and be minimalists. Those of us who enjoy our American culture and heritage will continue to do that. They came out with this big statement, and remember, please remember what this crazy lady said on Good Morning America.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing.
They like what you're doing so much that you had to revert back to what you used to be. That is incongruent. That is incorrect. You are fibbing.
People like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite.
I don't want sound bites. I want higher stock prices. You, Madam CEO, are responsible for making sure that your shareholders get the maximum value for their dollar. And you're not doing that. I don't know who vetoed you to bring the old sign back, but thank goodness you did. I'm not going to play this whole thing over and over again, but I do want to listen to this to make sure that we all remember how foolish the CEO was. And hopefully we'll get another press release here in a day or two saying that she has been removed and relieved of her duties.
I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and once every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
We know that's not true. You just know that's not true. There's no one here on God's green earth who liked that new Cracker Barrel logo. It's like 1992 Word document skills there. Not good. And it's great to see that Americans are starting to try to claw back our Americana. I'm not saying it's going to come back. I'm not saying Cracker Barrel is going to, completely bounce back to where it was, but it might. The left is just freaking out over it. They're not happy. People are calling for the firing of this lady, and I hope she does go. And would you look at that? Look at the stock today. Up almost 5 points. $62.62. And look, it's volatile, but I'll tell you what, if you bought on that 5-day dip, you're up you $8. If you bought at the lowest point in the past 5 days, it was at $50.75. 50, 75, 50 to 60. You're talking almost a $13 gain. Incredible. It's up 10% in the last 5 days. That's absolutely incredible. Wokeism is horrible, and it's a disease. It's absolutely a disease that once it infects a company, there's almost no cure for it. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about with good old Cracker Barrel website here. Yesterday, if you remember, we talked about how there were all these different corporations that were on, or different organizations that we're partnering with. There were some reports out there that said that that website or that page on that website is down. I still see it. I just pulled it up right now. If you go to crackerbarrel.com, culture and belonging, it's all right there. You can still see all the craziness that's there. And so there's still a long way to go at Cracker Barrel. But what I would respectfully say is that we do have a win. And when we have a win, we need to celebrate those wins. I have to be truthful with you. We tried to go to Cracker Barrel after church maybe 3 months ago, and the line was just out the door. And we're like, nope, not going. We went somewhere else. We don't seem to have that problem this last week, so maybe we'll go try it out. But long story short is between Robbie Starbuck on X pointing this out, between other news organizations, both conservative and liberal, giving both sides of the story, we've pointed it out. And I just feel like it's a really good way to show that if you do actively say your mind and talk about companies, i.e. protest, that you can have a positive impact. And maybe this is just because all the normies were just like, this is ridiculous. That could be. But again, it all comes down to you making those individual decisions in your life that you're going to do, and then just stick with it. We're one in a cog. I was reading the other day, and I want to talk about this moving forward, but do you know the biggest protest against Target, who that organization is? It will absolutely shock you. Because Target is still suffering. As you know, they lost their CEO. Good on them for getting rid of him. And they are really struggling to come back from the tuck, if you will. We'll just call it the tuck. I'm not one to celebrate when businesses go down or they lose business, and because those people they have jobs, they create jobs for our community right here in Mississippi. But at the same time, I don't want them to force their social engineering agenda down on Mississippi. Mississippi's great just the way it is. And it's really interesting when you find out who actually was the one who has had the longest sustained protest on Target or Target. That's a clue in and of itself. We're off and running on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. We will be right back. .9. We will be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. all sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Doctor, the AC doctor, what's your diagnosis? My whole house was hot as a fever. Now my house is frozen, cause my air conditioning's on. Doctor, my AC's broken. Doctor, the AC doctor, he healed my house, bless my soul.
The AC Doctors is your one-stop provider for air conditioning and heating installation, service, and repair. Contact us for money-saving repairs and lower energy bills.
Doctor, the AC doctor, heal my house, bless my soul.
Google the AC Doctors and get some relief today. TheACDR.com.
It's time to put a little more sizzle in your red-hot Mississippi summer at Mazda of Jackson. Drive away on your road trip with a boost from Mazda of Jackson's $1,000 off owner loyalty reward and low 1.9% financing on a 2025 CX-90, CX-70, and the Assembled in America CX-50. And take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory before it's gone. It's time to choose Mazda. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to elevate your next dinner? The ultimate destination for wine lovers is 042 Wine and Spirits on West Government Street in Brandon. They're locally owned, they're locally operated. 042 Wine offers something for everyone, from local favorites to rare vintage wines. 042 Wine and Spirits can help you find your next favorite wine. The friendly and knowledgeable folks at 042 Wine and Spirits will help you find the perfect bottle for every occasion. 042 Wine and Spirits, located on West Government Street in Brandon.
Oh, yeah, we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. During the break,
Oh, yeah.
lots of texts coming in.
Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB.
Unfortunately, this shooting
during the
in
break,
Minnesota,
lots of texts coming in.
it has the potential to be
Unfortunately,
probably
this
one of the worst school
shooting
shootings in the
Minnesota,
history of America.
It has the potential to be.
There's just too much information out there, and I don't want to perpetuate
shootings in the history of America.
any
False
data, any
there's
bad
just too
data.
much
So I'm just going to
information out there,
say
and I don't want to perpetuate
that school
any
is
false
under-
data, any
was
bad
under
data.
attack.
So I'm
and,
just going to say
a lot of people are hurt,
that school
and the shooter is dead.
is
And I went around and kind
was
of
under
looked
attack, and
just at different
a lot
headlines.
Of people are hurt,
and
and the shooter is dead.
There's not a lot
And
of information
I went
out there
around
yet.
and kind of looked.
And I
just
don't
at different
even want to
headlines,
start ripping on it,
and,
other than to say that, you know what,
there's not a lot of information.
gun-free
out there
school
yet.
zones
and I don't even want to
didn't work here.
start ripping on it, other than to say that, you know what,
And
gun-free
it's just,
school zones
just not a good deal. We'll
didn't
continue to
work
cover
here.
it. Coming in on the text line, people
it's
are
just-
talking
just
about
not a good deal.
Cracker
We'll
Barrel.
continue to cover it.
Some
Coming in on the
saying don't
text
think
line,
that it's a win.
people
That,
are talking about
the people who have the mentality to
Cracker
make the
Barrel.
changes are still there. Now they
some
are
saying don't
now
think
they
that
are
it's a win.
in charge, but
They-
bitter
the
that they had
people
to
who have
reverse.
the
I
mentality
don't
to make the
like
changes are
leadership
still there.
like that cooking my
Now they
food.
are now they
I
are
agree.
in charge, but bitter
and that's
that
why
they had to
I'm
reverse.
hoping
I don't like
that they do
want
fire
leadership
this
like
person,
that
and
cooking
they
my
do have
food.
a clean out.
I agree. And
Will it
that's
actually
why
happen?
I'm hoping
Doubtful.
that they do fire this
But it's a
person,
start.
and they do have a clean out.
And unlike Bud Light
Will it
or
actually
some of
happen?
these other companies,
Doubtful.
they started
But it's a
reversing
start.
their course rather quickly.
And unlike Bud Light or some of
And,
these
and
other
remember about this
companies,
whole
they
Cracker Barrel
started
thing.
reversing
The
their
two biggest
course rather
institutional
quickly.
investors are BlackRock and Vanguard.
And
And
remember
they
about
have a
this whole
track
Cracker
record
Barrel
for
thing.
buying
The
up
two biggest
major
institutional investors are
stakes
BlackRock
in these
and
companies,
Vanguard.
buying major stakes in the
And
stock,
they have a track record
and
for
then
buying up
going woke.
major stakes
And
in these
maybe
companies.
we'll start doing
buying
something
major
about
stakes
that.
in the stock,
I certainly hope so.
and then going woke.
I certainly hope so.
And maybe we'll start doing something about that.
Man,
I certainly hope so.
It's
I
sad,
certainly
but
hope
speaking
so.
of crime,
Man, it's just
this is coming from
it's,
No Longer Me on
sad, but
X.
speaking
You can
of
follow
crime,
them at no_longer
this is
underscore
coming from
me.
No Longer Me on X.
This is where I got
You
that
can
list
follow
from.
them-
And if you're out
follow
there
them
and you're on
at
X,
no
you can also follow me
underscore
on
longer
X. It's
underscore
at
me.
Andrew Gasser,
This is where I got that list from. And if you're out there and you're on
AndrewGasser.
X,
That'd be awesome.
You can also follow me on X. It's at Andrew
But they've come up
Gasser,
with a list of the top 20 cities
AndrewGasser.
by the number of
That'd be
murders
awesome.
for the first half of calendar year 2025.
But they've come up with a list of the top 20 cities.
Top of the list, number
by the
one,
number of murders for the first half
Chicago,
of calendar year 2025.
189 murders, Democrat mayor.
Top of the list,
Houston,
number one,
151
Chicago,
murders,
189
Democrat mayor.
murders, Democrat mayor.
New York,
Houston,
149 murders,
151 murders,
Democrat
Democrat
mayor.
mayor.
Memphis,
New York,
124 murders,
149 murders,
Democrat mayor.
Democrat mayor.
Philadelphia,
Memphis,
114 murders,
124 murders,
Democrat mayor.
Democrat
Los
mayor.
Angeles,
Philadelphia,
113 murders, Democrat mayor.
114 murders,
Kansas
Democrat
City,
mayor.
I'm sorry, Washington, D.C.,
Los Angeles,
85 murders,
113 murders,
Democrat
Democrat
mayor.
mayor.
Kansas City,
I'm sorry, Washington,
84
D.C.,
murders, Democrat
85
mayor.
murders,
Detroit,
Democrat mayor.
Michigan,
Kansas
81
City,
murders,
84
Democrat mayor.
murders, Democrat mayor.
Milwaukee, 69 murders,
Detroit, Michigan,
Democrat mayor.
81 murders,
Baltimore,
Democrat mayor.
68 murders,
Milwaukee,
Democrat mayor.
69 murders,
St. Louis,
Democrat mayor.
67 murders,
Baltimore,
Democrat mayor.
68 murders,
13
Democrat mayor.
on the list. Dallas,
St.
Texas,
Louis,
66
67
murders, Republican
Democrat
mayor.
13 on the list.
To be
Dallas,
fair,
Texas,
you have to put an asterisk by
66 murders,
Dallas
Republican mayor.
because that mayor switched parties because he didn't like
To be
the way
fair,
the
you have to put an
Democrats were
asterisk by
dragging Dallas
Dallas
down. So he
because
he
that
gets
mayor
a
switched
a
parties
asterisk there.
because he didn't
'Cause
like
he was
the
a
way
Democrat
the
until
Democrats
last
were
year.
dragging
see what he
Dallas
does.
down. So he gets a
He's got
asterisk there
Phoenix,
because
Indianapolis,
he was a Democrat until
Louisville,
last year.
San Antonio, New
We'll see what
Orleans,
he does.
Atlanta, and Cleveland.
You've got Phoenix,
On there.
Indianapolis, Louisville, San
All
Antonio,
Democrat
New
mayors,
Orleans,
all
Atlanta, and
anti-gun
Cleveland
measures, all out of control.
on there.
How much
All
higher would
Democrat
Washington,
mayors, all
D.C. be
anti-gun measures.
if it wasn't
all
for
out of
President
control.
Trump? As of yesterday, they had
How
12
much higher
straight days
would
without any
Washington,
murders
D.C.
in
be
our nation's capital,
if it wasn't for President Trump?
and they
As of yesterday,
continue
they had 12 straight days without any
to rock and
murders
roll
in
on that,
our nation's capital.
and they continue to talk about what
And
they're going to
they
do
continue
in Washington, D.C. as
to
far
rock and
as
roll on that. And they continue to talk about
additional
what
steps.
they're gonna
President Trump
do
yesterday
in
actually called
Washington,
for
D.C.
capital punishment
as far
if they committed
as,
murder in the D.C.
uh,
Capitol.
additional
President
steps.
Trump's
President
not
Trump
saying.
yesterday actually called for capital
So,
punishment if they committed murder in the
CNN
D.C. Capitol.
decided to go out amongst
President
the people
Trump's
in
not
Chicago and ask,
So,
do you support
The CNN
what President Trump's doing?
decided to go out
And
amongst the
this
people in Chicago.
CNN info babe was
and
not ready
ask,
for what
"Do
was
you
about to hit
support
her.
what President Trump's
Reaction
doing?"
was that this is a good
And
thing.
this
I
CNN
think that the
info babe
governor
was
as
not
well
ready
as
for what was about
the
to hit
mayor
her.
should be on board with it just so we can get a bit more of security in Chicago the way that we need.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all. No, especially with the police being defunded.
Yep. All of these liberal cities defund the police. What were these people thinking? And you see the lady try to say, crime's going down, crime's going down. Nobody thinks crime's going down except for these liberals. They're the only ones. They are living in a suspension of disbelief. They are out there on their own. And people are quite frankly sick and tired of these liberals controlling the news media and the narrative. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Man, my man Andrew, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
You got to understand this crime thing is a business. Let me give you an example. First of all, you have to pay the salary of a police officer and a detective. Then you have to take that individual to a facility where it is managed, the personnel inside the facility, the maintenance of the facility. Then they're processed through a court, which requires a judge, a stenographer, lawyers, people that keep up with documents. This is a system where people are making money. And if you take away the moneymakers, a la the criminals, you have taken away the financial wheels that turn within this system. They don't want to end crime. They want to continue to make money.
Now, do you think this is something that's happening? Why aren't we having the same types of problems in Republican-led cities?
Because we're making money. Why do you? It's kind of like curing cancer. Why do we want to cure cancer when we're making a killing treating cancer?
Wait, I understand the analogy, but again, if are you just saying that the Democrats who are running these big cities aren't good at making money? Because
they are good at making money. They want the crime to continue so the cycle continues and the money continues to flow. You take away the criminals, or you arrest them, or you put them away for an extended period of time, then you stop the money wheel from turning.
So is it a money-making experience? Pick a Republican city. Are you saying that they have a money-making scheme there too?
Absolutely. Anything that you deal with crime, you're making money. Now, given the fact that there's a limited or a tolerable amount that you can deal with. For example, you do have crime, you do have a system, there are people making money, but just you're not recycling as many people like you do in Washington, D.C., but we're still making money. You know, as long as the public safety is not too badly infringed, we can still continue to make. I mean, go to a city council meeting and look at how much paper is pushed simply to document somebody building a new building or opening a new business or converting their home to an Airbnb. I mean, follow the money, man. It's all about making money.
I'm not arguing that, but if Republican cities are making money and Democrat cities are making money, and one has high crime and one has low crime, why wouldn't you want to have low crime?
You would, but one is just making more money than the other.
So I guess if they're where I'm trying to get to is that there is, and I'm not disagreeing that there is a money making scheme to that, because there are tons of lawyers out there. As soon as you get in trouble and get injected into the court system, I'm not arguing that. But what I am saying is that I've lived in very liberal places and very conservative places. And the places that were conservative were much tougher on crime, which much more aggressive prosecuting crime. And they don't seem to have the same types of problems that these big liberal cities are having. I'll give you the last word.
I think you're exactly correct, but my main focus or my main reference is made to places like D.C. Mm-hmm. And of course, if they end up going into Chicago and dealing with those issues, you know, lawyers, to me, in my opinion, and sorry if I offend folks, don't produce anything. There's nothing that's consumable. There's not a product. There's not a fruit. There's not a object that they can use at home or a tool. It's just a way to remove money from individuals that process through a legal system. You know, I'm sorry, I'm just not a lawyer fan.
I understand. There's a lot of people who aren't lawyer fans, but there are times when we, unfortunately, we do need them. But I appreciate your point of view, because I do agree that it's a money issue. And, you know, what's happening here in Minneapolis, you know, they defunded the police. They took all that money that was supposed to be going for law enforcement and they diverted it into other community programs.
Sure.
And they're finding out now that they're not in a good place at all, man. I really appreciate the phone call.
All right, partner.
We'll talk to you later, my friend. Always awesome to get phone calls in. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Right back.
Keep it tuned here to 1039 WYAB.
Fox News commentary.
The left has come out in full support of lawlessness and full opposition to making it better. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Democrats are kicking and screaming because President Trump wants to clean up their lawless cities. And one of their favorite lines to fall back on is that red states have higher violent crime. Well, I did a little research, and while it is indeed true that 4 of the top 7 violent crime cities are in red states, here's the little kicker. Those cities are governed by Democrats. St. Louis, Democrat mayor. Memphis, Democrat mayor. Albuquerque, Democrat mayor. Detroit, independent, but formerly Democrat mayor. Cleveland, Democrat mayor. Tulsa, Democrat mayor. And last but not least, Baltimore, Democrat mayor. Not a single Republican mayor in the bunch. Perhaps the crime problem and the leadership problem could go hand in hand. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
You had an accident. Now you're hearing aftermarket parts, insurance company preferred, and a lot of other noise that serves to confuse you. Call Clinton Body Shop. We'll keep it simple. We are certified by 19 vehicle makers to assure you get a proper repair. We care about your investment and your safety. Call the shop who only wants one partner in the repair process, and that's you, the owner. In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
I like my insurance like I like my burrito, with everything rolled into one. Was in a state of craving amigo, till my agent showed me how it's done. He wrapped up my auto, my home, and my life. The discounts I'm getting are great. Everything good right there on one plate. Get to a better state, State Farm.
To keep more of your money in your pocket, call John Dorsa at 978-2302.
I am Wayne Lloyd, Delta Farm Services, LLC. We do all types of dirt work, excavation, dozer work, land leveling. We do building pads, commercial ponds and lakes, residential ponds and lakes, anything with dirt work. You can reach me at 662-528-0826. 662-528-0826. Delta Farm Services, LLC.
When second's making a play, short's got it covered.
A winning insurance strategy doesn't rely on one person.
Good hustle, good hustle.
Communicate with your guys and make sure everyone's in the right coverage. It takes a team that knows its roles well, working together to provide an exceptional experience.
Set the screen. You have to protect yourself. 1, 2, 3, Wildcats!
At Shelter Insurance, you can count on our local agents and award-winning customer service to help you protect what matters most.
Come see me, Jamie Creel, at Shelter Insurance and see why Forbes has rated us #1 in the world.
Would you like the convenience of a sunglass clip that fits your eyeglass frame? Hi, it's Bruce from Eye Gear Optical, and I've heard you asking, so I stocked up on them. Come choose from our selection of Revolution eyewear frames with magnetic sun clips at fantastic prices. For about the same price as a regular eyeglass frame, you can have the best of both worlds while they last. Come see me and I'll customize a pair just for you at Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl, and on the web at eyegearoptical.com.
And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show. It gets a little bit creepier and spookier the more you start digging in to what's happened in Minneapolis this morning. I'm going to read this. This is from a Minneapolis resident. Minneapolis police were already investigating 3 deadly shootings in the last 12 hours before the school shooting in Minneapolis. Before today's school shooting, there were 3 deadly shootings in Minneapolis in 12 hours, according to the Minneapolis Police Department. The level of gun violence across the city within the last day is deeply unsettling, the Minneapolis Police Department said in a news release. Across 3 separate multi-victim shootings, 8 people have been injured and 3 have lost their lives. The attack on the church, the school, would be the 4th deadly shooting in Minneapolis in less than 24 hours. But the most recent shooting, one man was killed and another injured at 2:08 a.m. in downtown Minneapolis. It's a great day to be a Democrat, pushing all these gun control bills. No gun zones in school zones. Defunding the police. Democrats own this. And we do not enjoy or take any pleasure in sitting there and saying, "See, I told you so." This is just brass tacks, not taking any emotion into it. We're not cheering because these people are going through truly a living hell right now. But we have to get away from this woke mind virus. It's like the screw worm in cattle. It's just wrecking everything. These movements by these ideological maniacs. That's what they are. They're maniacs. In Congress, in Senate, talking about defunding the police. We want strong police. We want them to be ethical, and there are plenty of things that we can talk about police that we don't like. But we should be able to go to school at any school, whether it be a public school or a Christian school, and not have to worry about this. And in cities where there's been a marketable anti-police sentiment that's been built up through the left wing, the Democrats, and the mainstream media, hold. You've got to hold it. And we're praying for all those families who are touched by this. They just wanted to go to school. And we'll find out about the shooter. This will all come out. President Trump has already made a statement on it and just basically said he's following it. He's aware of it. Doing what a good president does. Keeping himself out of it and allowing Governor Tim Walz, who would have been our vice president, and Mayor Frey, who is the mayor of Minneapolis, who's being challenged by a socialist, by the way, from Somalia, who hates guns even more. Let them handle it. And again, I'm going to talk about it, but I want to talk about it from a sense of what can we do here in Mississippi so that we don't have this happen. And I guess this is kind of a decent segue. Jackson Police Chief resigns. Hinds County Sheriff named interim top cop in the capital city. Jackson Police Chief abruptly resigned on Tuesday, citing a job offer that was less stressful and, quote, a lot more money. Well, cops usually don't do the cop business for the money. High stress job, incredibly dangerous job. The risk of you losing your life is real. But I've never heard of a cop being a cop for the money. And I'm not against what Chief Wade's doing. I'm just saying it's really interesting how all these big cities, the chiefs just kind of cycle through there. It's almost like it's topping off their PERS retirement and then heading out. It's not good. So we're going to have the sheriff temporarily take over that job. And I like our sheriff, quite frankly. He's been out to our neck of the woods a few times for a couple of different issues. And I'm not saying that I always got everything I wanted, but it was fair and the problem was taken care of. And Clay had a lot to say on the sheriff. And I'm not going to regurgitate and repeat all of Clay's work. he does great work. And the bottom line is that now Mayor Horn gets to pick a new police chief, and let's hope this police chief is tough on crime. Let's hope this police chief is not only tough on crime and holds criminals accountable, but he also starts rebuilding those relationships inside of Jackson. Because even though Jackson wasn't on that list I wrote and talked about the top 20 most murderous cities in America, Jackson per capita is pretty brutal. And we do have work that can be done there. I am excited to hear that Mayor Horn is going to start going after the blight. He's not sure how he's going to pay for it yet, but he's going after it. And I hope we have a police department that partners with the community to start identifying where some of these problems are and how we can go back and start making Jackson great. I know I'm a dreamer, and I'm probably considered by many out of my mind for thinking that we can somehow reclaim Jackson, but we have to. Don't give me the 81 reasons we can't do it. Find me the one way that we can. I sincerely believe in that. They say it could take up to 60 days to appoint a new police chief for Jackson. They're going to go out and immediately start a search. And what's really telling about this article is about how crime is dropping. In all of these crime-ridden places, all the news media can say is crime is dropping. But yet when you talk to the citizens, like we just had that one lady on from Chicago, I'd like to go, man, maybe I'll go into Jackson today. I got to go into Jackson today. Maybe I can go ask some people what they think about the crime rate in Jackson. Because I genuinely feel that there's a lot of stuff going on that isn't getting reported by our news media. They are in an unknown territory. They've always been trusted and beloved by the majority of the country, but now they're just as distrusted by the left as they were at the right. Back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s and 2010s, most conservatives didn't trust the news media. Many on the left did. And now it's all coming full circle. It's a sad day, not just for Minnesota, but for America. Not only do we have our politicians who are completely slandering the people, stating misleading statistics, but the media is letting them get away with it. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. We will be right back. And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Happy to be here, proud to serve. Every day's a holiday, every meal's a feast, and every paycheck is a fortune. At least if you have that mindset, you have a little bit positive outlook on life. I got some awesome feedback during the break via Facebook and also via text and via X as well. The libs on X are just awesome. They are fit to be tied. They're saying that conservatives are making a big deal out of this. Mass shootings where in places where they've defunded the police. We're not sitting here trying to grandstand or anything. We're just saying something needs to be done in these areas. And even with the caller that we came in, I think there was a little bit of a disagreement. But at the same time, in places where we do have active police chiefs going in and active in the community, working with the community, having that trust, seems to have a little bit better rate of reduced crime. Wasn't it just in Macomb or was it McGee where the police chief basically came out and said, we're not going to have any of that hood culture down here? And he made a statement. And guess what? It's cleaned up. Maybe it's easier to do because it's a smaller size community and you can have a little bit bigger impact. I mean, population size does matter when it comes to stuff like this. And for those who have been active in policing, they'll tell you that. It's just a shame that when we have so many good things to talk about, and I am going to try to talk about some positive things in the next hour, but at the same time, I would be doing you all a disservice and I would lose my credibility if we really didn't spend some time talking about the importance of having a strong police force and the importance of pushing back against crime like we're doing in DC. Again, I don't want to make it political, but it's almost like you've got two options. You can do what President Trump is doing in DC, or you can do what they're doing in Minneapolis. Pick one. Choose one. Andy, Benjamin Franklin said those who would choose safety and security over personal liberty deserve neither. I get that. And that's why we all should be packing. Today, there's a good deal going on at Two Gun Tactical. Our great sponsors who support the Second Amendment here at WYAB, we should all go support them. And if you don't know how to conceal carry, you should consider taking a couple classes and getting smart. Those of us who are concealed carry, maybe we should consider making sure that we're up to snuff and we're good to go. Not that we're looking to go out there and cause a fight or start a fight. Like I tell the sweet bee and my daughter all the time, if something like that happens, our job is not to turn into Rambo, Guns of Navarone, SEAL Team 6, and go out and fight the battle. We're there to get the heck out and survive. Let the other people do that. And that's all what it is. And we even talk about it. Sometimes simply brandishing your sidearm changes things real quick because criminals are cowards and they walk the other way. They're looking for soft targets, not hard targets. Kind of like that girl in Ireland, for those of you who haven't seen it, where she pulls out a knife and a hatchet, where two Muslim immigrants are trying to pick up on her sister. And now that 14-year-old girl is going to be considered the criminal and all of that. People are sick. Absolute sickos. Our world is in a fallen place right now, everybody. It's not in a good spot. We've got a long way to go. But it can be better. I believe it. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. When we get back in the next hour, we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve. We're going to talk about the potential of some new states coming into the union. It's going to be good. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Talk.
1039 WYAB, Pocahontas, Jackson.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Steve Kathan. 2 people reported dead, more than a dozen injured, 10 of them in critical condition in a mass shooting at a K-8 Catholic school in Minneapolis.
We heard probably about 15 to 20 gunshots in about 30 seconds.
That man was nearby. Mayor Jacob Fry spoke moments ago.
These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary.
CBS Minnesota's Caroline Cummings at the scene.
A lot of people still here watching, not taking their eyes off of what is behind me, which is the entrance to that school as you see children leaving to meet their parents, who I'm sure are holding their children so tight today. And I think any parent in Minnesota is thinking about that hug that they're going to give their child when it returns home from school.
Police say an 8-year-old and 10-year-old were killed and that the gunman fired weapons through windows from outside. CBS's Nicole Skaga says the gunman died of a self-inflicted wound.
We're told that the male suspect was wearing all black. He used a rifle, and right now police searching for any additional weapons, any improvised explosives. There is no current threat to the public at this time.
CBS's Linda Kenyon says President Trump has been briefed.
In a statement released on social media, President Trump said, quote, "I have been fully briefed on the tragic shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The FBI quickly responded, and they are on the scene. The White House will continue to monitor this terrible situation." The president's statement ends with, quote, "Please join me in praying for everyone involved."
In other news, the federal takeover in Washington, D.C. expands with new action today.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says his department is taking over Union Station amid an outcry from some residents and district officials over President Trump's crackdown on the nation's capital.
Not a power play. We've always had it.
Duffy says the soaring building with breathtaking architecture that opened in 1907 has fallen into disrepair.
We think that we can manage the property better.
Armed National Guard troops are patrolling the station. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Lawyers for Kilmar Abrego Garcia have told a judge he wants to seek asylum in the United States. The 30-year-old Salvadoran national is in ICE custody in Baltimore after leaving a Tennessee jail on Friday. The Powerball jackpot has grown to an estimated $850 million. It's the 6th largest prize in that game's history. Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 95 points. The S&P is up 13. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
This sandwich, it's a complete game changer. Hello, this is Mike, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club is that juicy chicken with that toasty pretzel bun. That bun, it's crispy, cozy, just amazing. With the pretzel bun, the Dijon mustard, and the chicken, it makes that sweet, savory kind of combination. It's everything that you love about food rolled into one. It looks phenomenal. It tastes great. It's delicious.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with cherry berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more.
Local news and weather brought to you by Mississippi Energy Services. We're your fast, affordable, and friendly generator service company. msenergy.us. msenergy.us.
It's happened before, and it's happening again. Jackson has a chief sheriff. Sunny and 89 today. Clear and 67 tonight. 91 with afternoon storms possible Thursday. Then rain Thursday night and Friday. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
I have a preference for finding the best law enforcement leader we can find. And whether they're homegrown, whether they're from the region, whether they're from some other part of this nation.
Jackson Mayor Horn upon the Tuesday announcement that Police Chief Joseph Wade is leaving his job to take another in the private sector, and that Sheriff Tyree Jones Jones is stepping up to be the chief and sheriff, which happened before nearly 20 years ago.
During the Frank Melton administration, then Sheriff Malcolm McMillan was tapped by Mayor Melton to become police chief while he served as sheriff.
The search for a new chief may take a couple of months. Meanwhile, the mayor says the city is working on how to get abandoned houses and buildings torn down.
When we started this administration at the end of our budget year, and trying to find resources for blighted property has been a challenge.
He says they also need to fix some issues with the city landfill at Byram so it can take all the debris. And Thalia-Mara Hall is still not open. This month, it's been closed for an entire year, and the city is still working on removing asbestos and dealing with some safety issues. Some resolution to a murder near Canton on Hudson Road near Highway 16. That's where a man named John Montgomery was found shot to death in a yard last month, and now the sheriff's department says they've arrested 32-year-old Christian Wells and charged him with capital murder. A gallon of regular in Mississippi is now $2.69 on average, says Gas Buddy. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
And we are off and running in hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show. Thankful and grateful that you're all here with me. When the wicked increased, wrongdoing increases. But the righteous will see their downfall. Long story short, we don't want to cheer our enemies when they're fallen, and we don't want to cheer when we're winning. We just got to keep it level, keep it cool. Look, if you want to be part of the program today, it's definitely a different vibe than what I thought it was going to be. That's almost standard. But if you want to be part of the program today, number 601-879-0002. The text line is open at 601-879-5060. We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming on that social media platform that begins with a F. But we don't like saying the name, because they love to censor the heck out of everybody. And of course, you can listen to us anywhere in the world on the mothership, wyab.com/listen. We're grateful and thankful to everybody who listens to us, whether it's over the airwaves or over the internet. We like it all, and we're grateful and thankful for it. Standard mission today is equipping the saints, and where I did want to spend some time today talking about the redistricting battle, because it's taking on new context now. And there are swing states that are thinking about starting to redistrict. And these swing states are more blue in nature than red. And they're finding out that they're having a hard time making the numbers work. Yesterday, I got a text from an unknown texter who didn't understand how losing one vote going to the other side is a 2-point swing. And I thought I did a pretty good job of explaining that, but I want to explain it now. And to do that, we're going to use Mississippi. And we have 4 congressional districts. 1 is a Democrat and 3 are Republican. So right now it's a 1-3 shift. If you lose 1 seat on the Republican side, not only are you losing a yes vote But now the other side is gaining a no vote. Does that make sense? If we were to lose one of our Republican seats, instead of having 75-25, it'd be 50-50. And it's actually two. Not only did we lose one, but they gained one. So that's the math and the calculus there. A lot of politicos understand it. A lot of people who don't necessarily think about it, talk about it that much, don't. But what's really intriguing to some of these states, especially in the northeast of the United States, for instance, Massachusetts has 6 congressional districts. 36% of the state of Massachusetts is Republican, and they have 0 seats. Is that gerrymandered? Democrats would say no. Republicans would say yes. Connecticut, 42% Republican, 0 seats. Gerrymandered districts, Republicans would say yes. Democrats would say no. New Mexico, 4 seats, 46% Republican, 0 seats. New Hampshire, 48% Republican, no seats. Rhode Island doesn't count because they only have 1 seat. 42% Republican, no seats. Well, if you only got 1 seat in your state, well, then I get that. So this list, and that's why I'm not reading all the states, because I do not want to mislead this audience. We're all intelligent on that. But as this continues to go, the state of Indiana has sent a delegation out to meet President Trump in Washington, D.C. to talk about potentially redistricting. Ron DeSantis says Florida is going to do it. Georgia is considering it. Missouri is considering it. And I do understand what President Trump is trying to do. And this has been done before, where states have redistricted in the middle of the decade. But it's not standard. And I just genuinely hope that this doesn't become the norm. And again, it's not what happens in the U.S. Congress. It's what happens in the state House, in the state Senate, along with the government. Illinois has 17 seats, 42% Republican, with only 3 Republican seats. And if you look at how the state of Illinois is drawn, it's like the poster child for gerrymandering. Now, something that has not been talked about in the mainstream media when it comes to this fight, particularly in Texas, is what happened to those Democrat state representatives who fled to New York, who fled to Illinois, and places beyond. They have all been fined $10,000 each one, for $500 a day for being out of the state, which came to I believe it was $7,000 or $7,500. And then they were also fined for activating the Texas Rangers to try to go recover these state representatives. And they have to pay for that without their own money. The other thing about state reps in Texas is they only make $7,500 a year. They don't make any money, and I kind of like that. I kind of wish it was that way in Mississippi. I know it's not that way in Illinois. I know there's states that pay a lot of money to be a state rep. But the Texas Constitution says that if you're going to be a state rep, you're there to serve the state of Texas and not yourself and your own self-interest. Actually, really brilliantly worded. Back when the state of Texas was turned into a state, when they became a state, their state senators got paid $5 a day, it was $5 a day, or no, $5 a year, and $2 a year for a state rep. I was reading that and I was just like, oh my goodness, that's pretty awesome. I think our politics would be a lot different. I know that there are groups out there that are asking for term limits. I think it'd be great, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Too many people who are there who get the taste of power. It is sweet. It is addicting. And once you get a taste of it, you just want more and more and more of it. Very few good people go there and don't change. Most of them get in there. The lobbyists get their hooks in India. And look, I've seen it happen. And you were like, it's just the state house. You would be surprised what they do in your city alderman, with your county supervisors. It's there too. It just looks a little bit different. I was watching this one politician who shall remain nameless, had the opportunity to move up, not out, but just decided to stay a county supervisor for 26 years. 26 years. Was on a few boards outside of the county supervisor position, and just made incredible bank, all legally, quote unquote, but it got all twisted up. So when we talk about term limits, try to get rid of this gerrymandering, when we try to talk about trying to get a more conservative Congress, don't think for a minute that everybody on one particular side, whether it be the Democrat side or the Republican side, are all angels, because they're not. I genuinely believe, as it looks now, the state of Kansas, who would have thought this, but the state of Kansas, they're actually thinking about trying to redistrict the state of Kansas, and that would give them an extra Democrat seat, which is really shocking. Something must be going on there. I don't follow Kansas politics, but when I was looking at this big spreadsheet, and don't remember the person who sent it to me, but they've got all the ticks, and it's looking like there's a couple states that could add a few more Democrat leaning seats, but nothing like what the Republicans can do in 2026. But then this gets back to the Pandora's box in the end. There are things that have been done since 2020, actually 2018, when the Democrats really just lost their marbles and just started going full crazy. And then once Joe Biden got in, all sorts of lines were crossed. And they've opened up this Pandora box, and the Republicans are like, look, we didn't do it first, but we're not going to sit here and take it. We're going to do those same things. Can't necessarily argue that. All I'm saying is, with this redistricting, and I genuinely do believe that the Republicans will hold the House. And if you look in the Senate, we should be at 55, I believe, Republican senators after the 2026 elections. However, if you look at the 2024 elections, the Democrats actually stole 3 seats. They stole the seat in Arizona with Kari Lake, the seat in Nevada, I can't remember the guy's name, and the seat in Wisconsin. We had those 3 seats. We would have had 56, which would have brought us to 58. And there are people who study the political maps and the political trends across the United States, not just for the upcoming election, but they try to forecast it out years into the future. And depending on what happens with the census in 2030 and apportionment then, you could see a quote unquote Republican majority in the House, in the Senate, for all the 2030s and all the 2040s. They're talking it's that big. And the other thing that we need to understand as conservatives is that there were states that were denied electoral college votes, and those votes stayed in California and stayed in New York, and they're gerrymandered that way. Those are going to change too. Some people have projected 55 seat majority for Republicans in 2030. 55 seats. I mean, that's just incredible power. And many of us will be sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is great. This is great." Hey, Dogfish, good to see you. Good to see you too, Mike. But I kind of look at it as like, oh, man, there's that like I've listened to that girl and now she's screwed me up. If you look at Mississippi, we have a Republican supermajority in the House and the Senate. We're doing some good stuff, but we could do a lot more. And what if we can't even lead the way on what we want to lead the way on in Mississippi? What makes you think that the United States Congress and the U.S. Senate can do what we want them to do? Local is always better. Eat local, shop local. We always talk about that. We should politic local too. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. If you want to be part of the program today, the number is 601-879-0002. If you want to continue to use the text line, that number is 601-879-5060. When will Powell be removed and replaced as head of the Federal Reserve? Once he is gone, how big of a cut should we expect, and how big of a boom will we see in this country? This is the big test that's going on. We talked about it yesterday. Miss Cook, who has been allegedly committing mortgage fraud, she sits on the Fed, and she helps control and regulate the interest rates. People have said, experts, by experts, I use that with the air quotes, experts, CNBC and other places, have thought that the interest rates should have already been cut by 50 basis points or a half of 1%. I genuinely believe that coming up here in September, interest rates should be cut by 0.5%. The real big test is that the Federal Reserve has already said that they're not going to get rid of Miss Cook, even though President Trump has fired her. There's going to be a court case. This is just my prediction, because the left has done a great job of having all these lower court judges, just courtrooms completely flooded with very liberal judges. I'm almost certain that the lower court is going to say that President Trump doesn't have the right to fire federal people on the Federal Reserve, whether that be the chairman or board members. It will get appealed, and I believe it's in D.C., so it'll go to the appellate court, and they'll agree with the lower court, and then it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And lawyers that I listen to who are constitutionalists, who understand how this all works much more than I do, have all agreed that when it gets to the highest court, if the Constitution holds firm, that President Trump will be within his right to get rid of the people on the Federal Reserve. He'll go in and then clean it up, and you might see another 0.5 point, so a total of a 1 point. Would I like it to go back down to zero like it used to be, or close to zero? Yes, but I've always been quote unquote conservative with how I look at monetary policy. I don't like massive movements in the economy. I like that controlled turn and going controlled wherever we're going. When you start cutting more than a 0.5 point, you're either really heating up or something really bad's happened. I think even on the day after 9/11, they only cut a 1/4 point interest rate. So will Trump do it? He's going to try, but will it happen quickly as some people want? Never. It's just like the prosecutions that are going on with the Epstein case, with the Hillary case, with Adam Schiff and Letitia James. We're all ready for the perp walk, but the legal apparatus is not ready for it. And I'm okay with that. But I think that's because of where I was and what I experienced as a politician and going through that process, where there are many people, that I have a guy, I'm ready for my pound of flesh. I'm not voting. And I don't agree with that. I do understand it. I do. These Republicans have been promising a lot of stuff for a long time, and we finally get our guys in there, and we expect them to go warp speed, but the warp engine is broken, and we found out that the sublight speed engine don't even have enough battery juice to turn it over. So it takes time. But we'll get there. So that's my opinion on the Fed. Monetary policy, it would help. It will help in two places, in my opinion. First place is housing market. You'll see a lot of people, especially if it goes down a 0.5 point in September, and then in November it goes down another 0.5 point. So a full percentage drop. You will see people start refinancing their homes and getting that money for a lot cheaper. It makes sense. If you have the other thing you'll see is that refinancing the national debt will be really good. Yesterday during the cabinet meeting, which was awesome because we never really had one under Biden, and now I think we've had 3 under Trump that were completely televised and open. They were talking about stimulus checks for people, and I'm of the opinion I would rather just pay down the debt than get a stimulus check, but I realize I'm in the minority there. So I'll get my stimulus check, you'll get your stimulus check. We will stimulate the economy a little bit. But they're really talking about in the next year start to work down this debt, which I think is really awesome. We do see all the money coming in from all of the foreign nations who are buying quality American goods. There are other companies around the world that do build the same things we do, but not to the same quality. I would also think that if you saw the price of the American dollar go down on its interest rate, you will see a lot more foreign investment because it just makes sense to do business here. Dogfish in Rumble says Trump wants to make sure that the public realizes what the Fed really is. It is not part of the government, and the IRS is not solely collecting taxpayer money on behalf of the government. I agree with that. It's not an NGO, but it's a board that's outside of the direct purview of the president. But the Constitution says we're not supposed to be able to do that. It's really quirky how the Fed is set up. So is it a private organization that looks like it's a federal organization? If you remember Dr. Ron Paul, when he was in Congress in the 90s, that's all he wanted to do was audit the Fed. He had a bunch of people lined up to say audit it. It would be really interesting if we could audit the Fed. I think that would absolutely cause, if we actually could audit the Fed, it would be glorious, number one, but then the impacts of that would be absolutely insane. You would see worldwide economies just completely melt down because we're going to see exactly how the money is manipulated, how it flows, where it goes. President has direct control of the Marines. I'm just saying. And I agree with that other comment too. People do not realize at all, they don't have a clue of what the Federal Reserve actually is. They just say, hey, I've got my money. I can go to the store. I can buy my groceries. I can go to the store, buy clothes. I can live my life. I'm happy with it. We'll see. Text line is just blowing up. I want to read some of these real quick here. People asking, can you do both a stimulus check and pay down the debt? I suppose you could, but would you really be making a significant down payment on the debt? I mean, how big is the stimulus check going to be? Is it going to be $500 per person, or is it going to be something bigger? I mean, wasn't there a stimulus check of like $2,600 or $2,800 during COVID? Could have swore I remembered that. But we'll see. Anyways, the Fed is going to continue to do what the Fed does until the federal court decides whether or not Trump can fire these people. But I guarantee you, if the court rules that Trump can fire these people, you are going to see a major shift in political policy real quick. It would almost be interesting to see when the court makes that announcement and then watch the stock market in real time. It would be kind of fun to watch, but at the same time, it probably breathtakingly scary because the people who know where the money really goes and how the money really works is probably going to panic because the gig is going to be up. People are going to see what's going on, and it'll be an interesting day. Hopefully all of us have jobs where we actually can produce something tangible, where we don't have degrees in African lesbian studies. We have real meaningful degrees in trades where we can farm, build, work, because I think that'll be a big shift. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
WYAB.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at eliteroofer.com.
Looking for the ultimate reset for your body and skin? At Core Wellness and Recovery, you'll find next level services like cryotherapy, red light therapy, infrared sauna, body sculpting, and advanced facials. Whether you want to boost performance, recover faster, or just feel your best, Core Wellness and Recovery delivers real results with zero downtime. From muscle relief to radiant skin, this is self-care redefined. Come experience the future of wellness, Core Wellness and Recovery, just off Highland Colony in Ridgeland. Book now at corewellnessandrecovery.com.
CBS News special report. 2 children ages 8 and 10 were killed, 14 children and 3 adults wounded in a mass shooting at a Catholic K-8 school in Minneapolis. Mayor Jacob Fry.
I'm so deeply saddened and I'm so sorry to the families that I know are suffering right now.
Police Chief Brian O'Hara says it happened during morning mass.
This was a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping.
He says the gunman who took his own life fired from outside through the windows. He had 3 weapons. CBS Minnesota reporter Caroline Cummings.
I'm right in front of the entrance to the school. There is people with looks of just shock and horror on their face, witnessing this unfold in real time and knowing it happened in their community, in their backyard.
President Trump has been briefed, calling it a terrible situation. CBS News special report. I'm Steve Kathan.
Here's a tip for buyers from RE/MAX Connection real estate agent Rita Jensen.
Buyers need to be ready. Start your mortgage process. If you're not paying cash in your mortgage, you need to go ahead and start that before you ever go look at a house. You walk into a house and you fall in love with it, and that's the one you want. You've not even started the process. Qualifying letters with their offers, then you're dead in the water. You offer what you are willing to pay for this property and know that if you don't get it, you're okay with that. You can walk away.
RitaJensen.net.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
My name is Terry Parkinson. I'm with the Madison County Co-op in Canton. We're about a block southeast of the square. It's the deer time of year. We've got food plot seed from BWI, J&J Bagging, Buckbusters out of Louisiana, and Kelly Seed out of Alabama. We've got all the attractants, ryegrass. We got clovers. We sell a lot of sportsman condos, the game cams, just about anything you're going to want. Madison County Co-op in Canton is low or lower than most of our competitors.
Tri-County Tree Service, the Jackson Metro's premier company to handle all of your tree service needs. Russ Borland and his team specialize in large tree, low-impact removal. Tri-County Tree Service has the right equipment to safely handle the most technical trim jobs or tree removals. Storm damage can happen year-round, so let them clean it up and they'll deal with your insurance claim. Tri-County Tree Service, by phone at 601-TREE-GUY or online at tricotreeservice.com. That's tricotreeservice.com.
And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Lots of comments about the Fed. People saying that the housing market would boom, car sales would boom, commodities. Yeah, I think there would be that initial surge in spending, people trying to get caught up. How many of us would use that stimulus to pay off debt? Another great comment. 1 trillion seconds, 1 trillion seconds is 31,688 years. Now think of that in terms of dollars. They have no true intention or are able to pay off the national debt. Well, I don't think they could pay it off quickly, but I do believe if we decided that we actually wanted to pay off the debt, we could. But I do agree with your point. It's a astounding number. It's a ridiculous number. And at some point that bill is gonna come due. It might be in our lifetime, it might not be. Many people argue that it will be in our lifetime, but I remember the same argument being had when we were like 500 billion in debt back in the early 80s. And there have been times, I think, where the market has tried to correct itself. 2008 comes to mind. And also COVID. There was an attempt at a correction there, but powered through it. Something that is also not being talked about our economy and is really interesting is that there are 4 provinces in Canada that are looking to succeed from Canada and potentially join the United States. Alberta and Saskatchewan, in particular, produce almost 100% of Canada's energy, yet they get the worst service from Ottawa, their capital. And they're having referendums on the ballot next year, I believe, 2026, to actually leave Canada. President Trump has talked about having a 51st state. Both Saskatchewan and Alberta already have really good terms in place with the states they border. I believe it's Montana and North Dakota. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I believe that's where it's at. And, to be able to have just 2 more states, and these Canadian provinces, these states, they're particularly conservative on a lot of financial issues. They're very socially liberal on a lot of issues. So it would be interesting to see how that works out. Would they just want to become their own independent countries? That could be what they want to do too. But there's been a lot of stories on that and how even in Alberta, they thought they were going to need 314,000 signatures to get that on the ballot. They only need 186,000. So they're already actively working to try to get that on the ballot. The economic boom that would come to the United States, if that was to actually happen, that would be a true game changer. That would absolutely also completely destroy Canada, and the liberals in Canada understand that, and we're down here on the Gulf of America enjoying life. What's that have to do with us? Oh, it has a lot to do with us. The oil that Alberta produces is incredible. President Trump tried to do that with the Keystone Pipeline back in the day that President Biden killed as soon as he got into office. That was pretty brutal. And the Canadians know that. Canadians also know that in Ottawa, which is the equivalent of DC, they understand that if Alberta and Saskatchewan go, and there's 2 other provinces that are thinking about it, that the Canadian economy will completely collapse. And it'll continue to be a shift in power. And if we think about it, throughout the history of humanity, countries come, countries go, borders change all the time. Is it just that time in history to where the country of Canada either A, ceases to exist, or B, completely changes because of the mismanagement of the nation at the top level? I don't know, but I'll tell you this: it sure is fun, and to watch some of my friends who I've flown with Canadians in the E3 community, the AWACS community. We have a joint mission of controlling the airspace above North America to include Canada, the United States. So we fly a lot of missions together, and the thought processes and the way our Canadian friends and allies see things is so different than us in so many different aspects. Many of them be like, "This is great." Others are like, "This would be a complete abomination." So, tying back into our federal economy, I almost think that if that would be a bigger impact to the economy than whether or not we get rid of a couple of Federal Reserve governors and chairmen and stuff like that. Another big question coming in was, will Elon Musk get involved in the implementation of paper ballot technology in future elections? I genuinely believe that Elon will look into getting involved in elections, but I think the Elon was the only person who could possibly take on Donald Trump, and he got smoked pretty good, even though I do think it was a work. And I I would think after yesterday, for those of you who didn't know, SpaceX launched their Starship, and it was a success. I won't say it's a complete success. If you watch the video, you could still see the fins had a little bit of delamination. There was an event, something popped. It didn't affect the ship as far as landing and all that kind of stuff, but it was an overall super success of a test. But I think Elon is really going to start focusing on his businesses and where he can help people get into office who agree with what he agrees with. He'll support it. I don't know. To absolutely predict what Elon's going to do, that's a pretty dangerous business to be in. I don't want to be in it. But I do think that the political bug has bit Elon, and that he understands the importance of having free market system in America, and he definitely sees how close the political left was to actually completely crashing out the United States of America. It's not even debatable. He definitely sees that. So let's see. I'm just going through all these different questions that y'all have asked me. I love it when the texters become part of the show. It's a good deal. Last one, I'm hearing from some people say that we may have as many as 80 to 100 million non-citizens in our country. How do you formulate a plan to deal with that and to ensure our national sovereignty? Well, I just think we continue to do what we're doing with ICE. You know, again, there are a lot of people looking for jobs, and ICE is looking for people. And if you are remotely qualified to go work for ICE, that's a job. And as long as there are Americans and patriots out there looking, and when we see something, it's reported. You know, we have an organization right here in Jackson, Mississippi called One Voice Jackson, and they had an event last year where they were helping non-citizens get documents to stay in Mississippi. It's not even arguable or debatable. Our politicians know it. I hope ICE knows it. We can just hope that it continues to go down that path. And because if there really are that 100 million, I mean, we're only 346 million people. And they said that in the Biden years, we had 20 million people potentially illegally cross the border. That 80 to 100 million seems kind of high to me. But this problem didn't happen overnight, right? This just didn't all happen at once. We're now sitting at a point to where it's going to take years and decades to get us back to where we want to be. But at least we can actually have a plan laid out, and we can actually start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's way out there. But hopefully that's the light at the end of the tunnel and not a SD70 Mac steaming down the tracks, getting ready to plow us in the face. That would be bad. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
This is very simple. Hostile foreign adversaries like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, as well as foreign terrorist organizations like Trinidad and Tobago, must not be allowed to own land in Texas, period.
And we are back on 103.9 WYAB. Two quick news and notes to get to. Really excited about what Texas is doing. Because they are taking, quote unquote, the bull by the horns. And this is something that we could do in Mississippi. Here, listen to Governor Abbott and tell me if you agree with this or not.
This is very simple. Hostile foreign adversaries like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, as well as foreign terrorist organizations like Trinidad and Tobago, must not be allowed to own land in Texas, period.
Huge applause. We should have that here in Mississippi too. I know I've had people come up to me and say, you know that the Chinese own a lot of land in Mississippi. If they do, that's fine. Let's take it back. And if they don't, let's put something in place that does it. These are like the low-hanging fruit that we should just be knocking out of the park in Mississippi. My opinion. And again, I'm not trashing anybody. I'm just saying these are things that we can do. Also, just something that came across my timeline. And I'll put this out there for the listening audience. If you look at Robin Westman, apparently that is the name of the shooter in Minneapolis who went to that school. And before they could take it down, it was downloaded, and it appears it's bad stuff. So just go on X and do it. I don't even want to put it over the air because it's sad. But thankfully, someone downloaded his/her manifesto and has it all downloaded, and now it's on X, and they can't take it down, which is good because now the mainstream media is not going to be able to cover this up. And I could download and actually play the manifesto, but I don't know what's on it. I don't know what words are on it. and I like my job here, and maybe I'll go home, download it, and then censor it out as far as like the cuss words and whatever else. But definitely on the weapon that he or she used, he or she wrote, "Kill Donald Trump, rip and tear." And this person has pigtails. It appears to have pigtails, but definitely masculine in definitely masculine. That's a fact. Oh yeah, they have his driver's license. Definitely has some gender confusion there, and they've got pictures of his complete manifesto. And I don't have time to read it now, but we're definitely going to have that up. We'll definitely review that because we need to make sure that we try to understand what this person was doing. And again, this is a person who's completely detached from reality at this point. And it's an illness that is completely sweeping over not just America, but the world. Lack of truth. It's a shame. Bad stuff. Well, a couple more texts coming in. I see you, caller, but not enough time to be fair with another caller. Texter saying what Elon did yesterday with the Starship project was really great. They actually got to launch 8 satellites. Yep, they did actually test out the satellite launching capability of the new rocket, but it's important to note that those 8 satellites were just placebos. They weren't real satellites for SpaceX to be going in their Starlink. It was just a test of what they call the PEZ dispenser. But the great thing about it is they got the next one for launch 11. It's going to be ready to go probably within another month. And you're going to start seeing them going quicker and quicker. And they might even make the next launch window for Mars. Not that they're going to send humans there or anything like that, but they're going to be able to go ahead and send a lot more payload to Mars than we've ever sent before. And that's exciting. So hopefully Elon Musk continues to focus on that, focuses on Tesla, supports the movement where he can support it politically, and we'll end up in a better place. You were listening to Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll see you in 22 hours.